All right, guys. So before we move on with the front end, there's one thing I want to do in the back in the ideas routes on the specifically the delete and the update. So right now we can just make a request and delete or update any idea. But what I want to do is make it a little more secure by having to send the username of that idea in order to delete or update it. So for example, if I go to delete this one, we have to send a username of Tony Stark for that to work. Now, obviously, this isn't like real authentication because anybody can send any username, but it kind of mimics how authentication works. Usually you make a request to log in with some credentials, and then you get a token that you send with that request, and then validate the token through some kind of middleware. But that's way beyond this course. We do that in my Node.js masterclass, API masterclass course if you're interested in that. But let's go to our backend routes folder and the ideas.js. This is where all of our routes are, and we want to update the delete and the update route or the put request. So let's start with the delete. So right now, as you can see, we can just find and delete. But what I want to do is, first of all, in the try, we're going to get the idea that we're deleting because we need to check the username on that idea. Then we just need to validate it against the username that's being sent to the route. So what we can do is say const idea, and we'll get that with await and then the idea model, and we're going to use a method called find by ID, and we can get the ID from the request params.id. Okay, so that's coming in from the URL right here. So that gets the idea. Now we just want to validate it. Let's just put a comment here, and we'll say match the usernames. So we'll do an if statement, and let's say if the idea.username, so that's the idea we just grabbed, is equal to request.body.username. So that's the username that's going to be sent with the request. If that's true, then they match. So we then want to just move these two lines up into here. And you can either do an else, or you can do without the else and just say return that res.json and then continue down here. So this is if the names don't match. So we'll say usernames do not match. And what we'll do is send a response. Let's grab this one. Except we don't want to send a 500. A 403 is unauthorized. So that's what they are. They're trying to delete without the right username, so they're unauthorized. So we'll say 403, success false, and for the message we'll say you are not authorized to delete this resource. All right. And then we basically just want to do the same thing for the update. So I'll just copy, let's grab this because we need to get the idea. So up here in the put, right in the try, let's get the idea. And then we'll do the same thing here where we check the username. So if that username matches, then we can do the update and we can send the successful response. So we'll grab that, put that in here, and let's just return this since we're going to do another response below. If you don't return, it's just going to give you an error saying you tried to send double responses or whatever. So outside of this if, actually wait a minute, where did I end that if? Is that? Yeah, try ends right here. Yeah, okay, so we want to go right under this, and let's say username does not match, and we're just going to grab the same error that we did here, or usernames do not match, and we'll paste that in, except we're going to say you're not authorized to update this resource. Okay, and then I just want to copy the comment as well. I just have a OCD thing about this kind of stuff. All right. Now we can try this out remember that the back end we're not using NodeMon, so it means we have to reset it ourselves. So let's stop the server, npm start again, and now I'm going to try the update with Postman. So if we open up Postman and we get all of our ideas, just to get an ID for one that we want to update. So I have this one here. Of course, yours are most likely different. I'm going to grab that ID, and the text right now is this is an idea. So what I want to do is open up another tab and make a put request to API/ideas/ and then that ID. And then in the body, I'm going to go ahead and add a new text data, and I'll just say updated idea. And then I'm not going to put any username right now. I'm just going to try to send that. And I get you're not authorized, and I get a 403 response, which is correct. If I add a username and I put for that username, I don't know, Joe, and I try to send that, it's not going to work because the username for that particular idea is Brad. So if I put Brad and then send, then it works. I get a 200, and you can see the text has been updated. So that works. Now let's try the delete. So same URL or same ID, I'm going to choose delete, and I'm not going to send a username. So again, I'm not authorized because I'm not sending the correct username. If I send Brad1, which is not correct, that's not going to work either. If I send Brad, which is the correct username, now I get a success. And if I go back to my GET request here, you can see that that's now gone. So we've added a tiny bit of security. Obviously, you can freely send any username you want. So if you see that this Tony Stark is the username here, you can then make a request and just put Tony Stark in the data that you're sending. But it's something. So in the next video, what we'll do is implement this delete. But I don't want to be able to delete unless we send the correct username, which is going to be the username that's in our local storage. I want to make it so we don't even see the X unless it's our idea.